which of course is actually a death charge opportunity if proven successful. So we shall be going live, ladies and gentlemen. One game between these two teams, Hortons versus Hap. Rochelle is the first, Nick is the second. Climb up the ladder, everybody does so. Charger is actually off the back of a stumble going to land the charge. Hunter will still be landed on top as well though. Very, very good damage being inflicted here, and he's only just cleared, that being Ellis. I have to say, the Boomer is the MVP of that entire fight. Not only did he achieve a quad boom, but he also allowed the Charger to get everybody off the roof while the Hunter was pinning somebody. That's very good gameplay there. And we do have a smash tank here. Let's just see what he can bring to the table. He's bringing the alarm car to the survivors, which means he's going to be having at least 4 cars to use. One person boom as well. Charger isn't quite as successful, but they don't really want to charge a hero, I would assume. Tank will be relocating onto the red building. There is going to be a jockey on the lower ground, and damage has been inflicted so far. Is it enough to be super worried about? Not really, but they have to be careful of Ellis in particular. He will need to take his pain pills during this tank fight, otherwise he'll be down in 2 punches as opposed to 4. Smoker's going to be spawning up behind the generator. That actually allows the Boomer to get a boom. And Tank is continuing to play long here. That will be a 6 damage pounce onto Rochelle. Rock travelling in, but to no avail. Tank on pass number 1, 55% of it, and he's more than comfortable playing long here. Tank hasn't taken too much damage so far. Survivors are mostly positioned well. I do wonder about Rochelle there. Boomer's going to be popped this time. Very well played, and the jockey both, and the Charger. I mean, see, Nick actually landed himself a rock there. Well, onto himself at least. That's very unfortunate because they shut down the attack so well, but they paid for it with a rock. That, of course, is going to replenish the tank's frustration, and he's now 60% again, so that's an unfortunate result for the survivors there. Smoker behind the hittable car will be going for Nick. Not going to trouble them too much though, and neither is the Hunter. Boomer inside, they do know he's there, and they've shut down everything before him, so he's not going to be too problematic at all. Tank on 45% of pass number 1, and survivors quite smartly are blocking the line of sight. They do have a total of 15 seconds, not including the death time, not including the little transition as well from being alive to the timer. There's a bit of a gap there as well. Charger is spawning up and moving in just simply to cause some distraction. Jockey and Smoker, same thing. Smoker from below is headshotted into oblivion, as is the Rock. The Rock is shot into oblivion as well. Tank on pass number 2 now, though he does have to start thinking about making a more aggressive approach here, because it's worked so far, but there's only so long he can keep it up for, and he has taken 1,300 damage, still declining as well. He's moving in for the hittable car, but it bounces off the truck, and it doesn't do much for him. One person is boomed at the very least. Hunter is pouncing around. Charger is waiting as well on the high ground. There's 2 people on the high ground, 2 people on the low. They're choosing the high ground. Nick actually just barely dodges the Charger there when he clears. However, the tank is right in possession of the car, and he's going to be using it to his advantage, but he can't connect it with anybody. He dies, and very nicely played by Nick and Rochelle, particularly there for dodging the car as the tank died there. That tank fight was looking so risky and so precarious, but in the end, why do I keep calling them Hortons? Hortons definitely favourably came out on top there. Smoker from behind is going to pull Rochelle backwards, but that's all she wrote for the Smoker, and that's all she wrote for the entire attack, pretty much. The damage is not too bad, don't get me wrong. It's just very, very unfortunate for the tank that he couldn't make more happen with the hittables, because that was his focus, of course, and if you miss the hittables too many times, you won't get any damage at all, so it's risky, but I do understand why he took the risk, and it's unfortunate. Going to be a Charger positioned to the left of the survivors as they move forward. Hasn't gotten a spawn just yet, though. There is a jockey spawned behind them, and a hunter pre-spawned on the opposite side of the jockey. Charger behind the ambulance. Boomer, excuse me, actually, getting pops. Charger is going to be moving in. And that stumble from the jockey, plus a 9 damage pounce, that worked very favourably, actually. That was a very good attack, must say. Very well played by the jockey to line them up for the charger, and that's going to be a little bit more damage that they, let's be honest, desperately need.
Ammunition.
Survivors are currently in, well, they're en route to making it into the safe room with a predominantly permanent HP health bonus, which is very, very valuable. Smoker from behind, going to be looking to pull Nick there, but is headshotted. Charger makes the connection, but is cleared mid-connection. 0.37 seconds exactly. Boomer behind the alarm car. They can afford to kill him now because the alarm car has already been triggered. Excuse me, it has not been triggered. For some reason I thought it was. Completely ignore me. Something is going on in my brain. Hunter is moving in. One shot gated, I believe. That's very impressive. Smoker and Jockey, however, they make a very nice synchronization there. That's going to be a little bit more damage, and again, like I say, they desperately do need that. Charger is charging in there, but he connects with the wall instead. He will get a scratch onto Nick. However, survivors will make it into the safe room, getting 808 points in total, which, you know, let's be honest, that is quite a good result, all things considered. Did not actually suffer a single incapacitation this entire round as well, so well played to them. Reversing now with Hap on the survivor side to show us what they will be capable of. This being a mostly home advantage for the majority of the players, give or take. This is actually just a one game. It's not going to be a home and away. Hunter is going to be moving in with the Charger, who actually unfortunately falls through the hole in the roof there. Smoker behind hasn't had much more luck. Will be pulling Nick for a brief moment. Charger is looking for scratches onto Ellis, can't quite find it, and will eventually perish to the dual pistols. Tank's going to be looking to bring as many cars as possible, which is actually going to be, oppositely, he's going to be going for both of those cars. He wants as many cars as he can fit, really. That's a very nice hit on the car. That's going to be straight into play right next to the alarm car. Next car here will be also moving in exactly the same fashion. So he has about 5 cars here to work with. Let's just see if those numbers do pay off. Boomer actually will be popped very nicely by Good there. And it was also during the grace period as well, between when you spawn and when you're actually able to vomit. Hap blocking line of sight very, very nicely here, actually. This tank already being on pass number 2. He has to go in, actually, this tank being in the hands of Blue. First car is unsuccessful, but is on the rooftop regardless. He's going to be looking for this car right here. Can't get a good hit on it the first time. Tries the second time, but it doesn't really do much for him. He's going to be avoiding the cars altogether. It's not doing him any favours going for the cars. He's chasing Coach into the car, but ends up punching him back away from hit. Not really much he can do there. That's going to be a smoke, which lands onto Coach there in a very dangerous position. He could be punched into the water here, actually. He's not quite. I know what they were doing there. That's so unfortunate. Hunter will be landing onto Rochelle. Jockey will be landing onto Ellis, but only after Rochelle is cleared. There are a lot of there are a lot of cars that this tank, singular, can be working with here, and on 3000 HP he's in a favourable position. Survivors really do need to be careful with what they do here, because that's a death charge opportunity where Coach is. They might actually just leave him and try to kill the tank themselves. That's probably their best bet, really. They're going to look to try to kill this tank here. He is in the bushes as well, and he has permanent line of sight on Ellis. He's just going to be continuing to pummel the heck out of poor Coach there on the ground, trying to get the kill onto him, and he might be able to. Nick will be charged, but not death charged. That is going to be a surefire death, and not a successful rock, but they do actually guarantee the kill onto Coach, which I have to say is quite smart gameplay. Survivors perhaps should have been a little bit more aggressive and pressured the tank harder, because maybe then they could have saved his life, but who knows really, that's all just retrospect at the end of the day. Smoker Jockey and a Hunter in the hands of the Special Infected. That's a nice car there, as well as that one moving in straight for Rochelle, connecting with her. Ooh, that's ruthless. That's a Jockey and Hunter both landing at the same time. Well, I mean, that's going to be the car not quite encapping it. This. My goodness, that was some very good gameplay. That was some very good Special Infected gameplay, and that... Whoa, that was a very good car hit there, I have to say. Went straight over the fence, directly into the path of Rochelle, incapping her, and the tank actually managing to punch somebody onto the death charge place, aka the safe room, who was then smoked, and then incapped, and they actually thought well enough to kill him. Tank had enough HP to keep following them, and get the incap with the car, followed by the wipe. Well, I mean, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, that is just simply described as fantastic Special Infected gameplay. And here we are in chapter number 2, 808 points for Hortons versus, unfortunately for them, 70 points in the hands of Hap. And we will be looking to limit the slots, I believe. That's going to be important that we manage that. Because currently we have 13 people here, and I know we shouldn't have that many. Yeah, just a quick reminder, if you can join the game, it is a mistake. You are not supposed to be able to. All in all, though, we do actually have an administrator able to do these things, so that's quite good. But yes, now into chapter number 2. Let's just see what happens here, because it's less of a map that's known for its car-based tank fights. That's of course down to map 1 and map 4 of Hard Rain. Let's say. This one, however, there are hittable cars here and there, but not really too many. It has to rely a lot more on Special Infected support and either rocks or punches, really. Back to the basics. Just waiting on one more player here on the Survivor side, and we shall be live. But of course, we are looking at several hundred points currently separating these two teams, which you can say, you know, Hortons just played absolutely out of their minds, and can they continue doing that? Well, I mean, we'll have to see. But at the end of the day, it was just simply a phenomenal tank, and if they can't pull that out of the bag again, then they could be suffering against Hap, because they do need to make sure that they're on their A game always. Boomer first inside onto one Survivor, however, it looks more like they want to replace it with a Spitter, which I have to say they have a Charger, so it's logical thinking. So they're going to be also waiting for the indoor choke point ahead, I believe, which is, again, going to be a decent place to fight with a Spitter. And then again, actually, no, they're even more favourable. It's a quad cap. Not going to be successful, though. That's unfortunate. Charger isn't successful. Hunter is skeeted. Smoker is shut down in his tracks as well. I actually genuinely thought that was going to be a Spitter. Turned out to be a quad cap, which was more favourable. They did attack a little bit too late, though, so that's unfortunate for them. But of course, they have to keep looking with an onwards and upwards perspective. Jockey, Boomer, Hunter, and a Spitter. Boomer first is going to be shut down immediately at the mobile toilet there. That's going to be Hunter relocating himself, just pouncing around in the meantime. So we have a Jockey, Hunter, and a Spitter. That will either be a Charger or a Smoker. We shall just have to see which. It is a Charger. Hunter is going for that DP, that 25 DP on the skybox there, which he moves in, but he's chipped way too much there. Charger in the distance lands a charge, followed by an unsuccessful pummel, actually. Very quick clears. Spitter wasn't quite in time as well, so there won't be a charge-spit combination to enjoy for Team Hap. There will, however, be a tank spawning just now in the hands of Fields. Let's see what he can bring to the table here. Let's hope he is a little bit more fortunate than his predecessor, the previous tank. Boomer is unsuccessful behind the sheds there. He will be shut down in the middle of his troubles. Smoker and a Hunter is what they have to support the tank with. This, of course, is not going to be a Boomer a second time in a row. It's going to be either a Jockey or a Charger, so we'll have to see which. Ends up being a Jockey, so they have a Smoker, Jockey, and Hunter. That is going to be the Tri-Cap in support of the tank. Are they satisfied with it, though? The tank is not able to maintain line of sight very easily here, and the only real way he can is if he shows himself, which would open him up to chip damage. So, tank is indeed going to be moving in with the setup. Smoker will look to set something up for the tank. Nothing just yet as the tank moves slowly but surely towards the survivors, choosing Nick as his target. Jockey landing first. Smoker going to be trying to intercept. That could even be a tri-cap. Not quite a tri-cap, unfortunately, for them. Nick is potentially going to be going down here. Unfortunately, a missed punch, though. Going to be landing another punch followed by one more. Will they accidentally in-cap their own teammate? They will not. He actually gets out of that with 1 HP. They will in-cap him regardless because they'd rather him have 80 temporary HP, excuse me, rather than 50. Boomer, Spitter, and a Charger in the hands of Team Hap. Blue actually is what I would call pseudo in-capped, where he's permanent. No, he was in-capped, excuse me. Never mind. I thought he wasn't. I'm a silly buffoon. However, not much to speak of there, though. The Charger and the Spitter were not successful. Neither was the Boomer on low ground. And, well, that's all she wrote for the Special Infected as the survivors continue to travel forward here. Not much more of the map to go. They have gone further than half of the map. They're currently at 60%, so they have the upcoming crescendo, where they wait for the elevator, and then they have the cane field.
I guess I'll take this here machine gun.
Rochelle being the last person to replenish her ammunition as everybody continues forward. They now have this spiraling little staircase in the sugar mill, which they have to be very careful of because the Special Infected do indeed have a Charger. Hunter first is unable to make a connection and will be looking to get out with his life. 37 HP though. He's going to have to be getting rid of that, and he does indeed do so. Smoker looking for the pull to the left of the survivors as they move up. Charger is positioned as well. They notice the Smoker, can't quite kill him. Spitter is moving in first and foremost. They might be looking to go for these guys here as the Charger does, but unfortunately he will not make a connection with anybody. He will make a connection, however, with the low ground, and he will end up falling to his demise. Crescendo has been activated and a total of 1 incapacitation has been suffered by Hortons. Team Hap need to up the pressure here. They really need to get some good attacks if they want any chance of eliminating this currently very large health bonus. Smoker is actually going to be spawning up with the Jockey there. Honestly, such an effortless skeet, and the Jockey has not much more luck, really. They know where that Smoker is, so they will be looking to chase him down more than likely. He is the last remaining Special Infected as well. Looking like the Smoker will be dropping down and trying to get the respawn, which he does get. Smoker, Charger, Hunter, and a Boomer. They're looking to move in straight away. That could be a good decision. And unfortunately, well, even if they did land that charge, it would have connected with the wall instead. So it was good thinking, but unfortunately poor execution of said thinking. Survivors now reaching around 80% of the map, the cane field being the most treacherous choke point that they have to endure before they get to the safe room. Smoker, Hunter, and a Jockey, accompanied with a Spitter for this cane field choke point. Smoker positioned behind. Hunter is spawned up looking for the wall kick. Didn't get the wall kick, but we're moving in anyway. Along with the Jockey, that's going to be an unsuccessful Hunt-Spit combination, which is not really what they would have wanted, unfortunately. However, they will continue to move forward here. Blue going to be consuming his pain pills. Nobody else in any immediate need to consume their pain pills, and they will be out of the cane field before they know it. one more attack, really, but it has to be a very rushed and flustered one because it's all they can do, but they will have to send it in here. Charger is going to be spawning up and moving in for the survivors. Actually gets a stumble with some scratches. That's a decent dual cap as well. That's probably the best they can really hope for in this situation, as the survivors do shut the door, and they have awarded themselves now 1,760 points in total. A mere 70 points in the hands of Team Hap, so now essentially if they want to stay in the game, they do need to make it to the safe room with a good health bonus. That is essentially the biggest hope that they have. Don't know yet. Okay, well, potentially a finale. Potentially not. We shall have to see. Of course, we will have to see how the game goes. Hopefully, for the sake of Team Hat, I really do hope that they end up pulling something back from this, which they are more than capable of doing. So let's just see what they are capable of here as we move into their side of Chapter 2's Survivor round. Jockey, Charger, and a Smoker is the tri-cap. Finished off with a Boomer. Survivors, of course, being careful, being not only on the back foot, but also just simply being Survivor. You have to be careful. Careful they are indeed. No movement just yet. They're just clearing as many common infected as they possibly can. Which they appear to have vanquished the majority of it, so they will be looking to move out pretty soon. Hortons actually choosing not to sack the Boomer. They'll be using it instead, getting a one. Charger is moving in, actually lands the charge onto Coach. The interception from the Jockey isn't quite enough to land any pummels, mind you, and the Smoker is cleared pretty well as well. So overall, that's a good result for Team Hat, and they shall be moving onwards and upwards from here. As long as, of course, they do watch out for Nick behind them, because he was surrounded by a common infected for a bit there. 4 seconds in total on the death timers, Boomer, Spitter, and a Hunter, followed by a Charger. That's not the kind of setup you want to be dealing with in an indoor situation, so it will be interesting to see what happens here. Survivors again choosing the careful approach, making sure to eliminate the common infected before moving further forward. Not taking any risks, because when there's a cash prize involved, why would you take silly risks? Everybody wants that money just as much as the other person. Boomer and Charger and a Hunter. That does... it sounds scary on paper, but I don't know really how it will end up going. They haven't chosen to go inside as well. Hunter is going to be moving in with the Charger. Charger does land as well as the Hunter, so that's a Hunt, Charge, Spit combination, and a very devastating one at that. That's phenomenal damage onto Nick especially. Hunter and the Charger both landed in the same location, allowing the Spit to deal damage to both, and that's not something you want to be dealing with at all. Not to mention the Boomer did slow them down a little bit as well, so they haven't covered as much ground as they would have without that attack. And now, the Hortons have a quad cap, Hunter, Charger, Smoker, and a Jockey. Let's see if they can end up making this successful in the midst of this mini horde the survivors are dealing with. They have chosen not to go with it, though. They will be waiting for a more ideal place to execute this quad cap, which is going to be as the survivors move through this narrow passageway here. Everybody is ready and waiting, though. We do have a pre-spawned Hunter in the back as well, just sneaking around.
I hear Hunter.
Not making his presence known, though. In everybody moves, Smoker in the back. Tongue is cut, Charger will be landing, however Jockey is shut down. A pummel from the Charger, 2 pummels from the Charger actually. That probably should have been cleared a little bit quicker. However, the Hunter was skeeted and the quad cap dream is for naught. Tank will be spawning now in the hands of Dusty, who is going to be the European among the North Americans. Smoker actually on 141 HP as he respawns there, so he'll be getting most of that back, which will be good for him. There's going to be a Jockey, Smoker, and a Boomer in support of the tank here. Melona, it is only one game. Tank not really able to maintain line of sight here, and of course it's not too easy, not to mention the boomer has just been popped as well, so that's very well played by Team Hap. Throwing that rock out, but to no avail. Survivor's doing a very good job breaking line of sight. They haven't eaten anything unnecessarily just yet. Ellis is guaranteed to take his pain pills, and I do think Nick should probably do the same thing as well, now that I think about it. In moves the tank with the Smoker. Smoker will surely set up Coach there, which indeed he does. Coach will take his pills to increase his health as much as possible. However, he is still cornered. Hunter is going to intercept the Smoker, not successfully though. In his attempts, Jockey is moving in, trying to get Coach here to no avail. That's going to be more punches landed onto Ellis as well. So that's the first in-cap. Tank is on 2k HP, which has now declined. Tank being on the generator. He is surrounded in all directions though and has no choice but to move in. And he will be shortly meeting his demise here. Nice rock skeet by Nick, and that's going to conclude the tank fight. With, weirdly enough, Feels, aka Rochelle, is on 99 HP, so she's only taken 1 damage this whole game. Which, now that I've said that, she'll take a bunch of damage, I'm sure, with the Caster's Curse. Boomer, Spitter, Smoker, and a Charger. That's going to be a proxy boom onto 2 survivors. Chargers moving in as well. Smoker, with the help of the Smoker, he gets a double charge with the Spit. That's going to be brutal damage onto Ellis. Coach wasn't quite in the Spit, but that is going to be an in-cap onto Ellis regardless. Spitter is still waiting as well for that delay, which she goes for, but is a little bit too late, so it will actually in-cap Coach though, so that's not fortunate for them at all. Rochelle is in the distance. They're getting quite separated here. Hunter's looking for scratches, and he does get some scratches there. That is going to be Matt, aka Ellis, black and white here. Dead stop on the Jockey from Rochelle will end its life.
Hey, watch out!
Survivors now into the open area, but they, of course, don't have those pain pills, and that's going to be another incapacitation onto Nick this time. Ellis is 1 HP. Not to mention black and white, so his life is very much in danger here. Charger moving in first and foremost, gets a scratch followed by a charge. Thumble nearly kills Ellis there. No deaths just yet, but I can't imagine Ellis will be lasting much longer here. He's done well to last this long, that's for sure. Jockey is moving in for Ellis. He knows his target. He's moving in for him, and he gets dead stops, and he can't get the kill onto Ellis. He's clearly invincible here, and that's going to be a 25 damage pounce, but it's onto the in-capped guy, so it doesn't really count to much at all. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, imagine being Ellis right now. That is quite the experience. Spitter will probably be looking to spit onto Ellis, and he can't get out of that in time, really, unless he bunny hops like a madman. Unless they don't even know he's black and white. That's going to be a boom onto 1 survivor here. Charger is moving in. They're trying to protect Ellis with their lives here. Smoke in the back onto Rochelle, both of which are cleared. However, we are going to finally be saying goodbye to Matt there, aka Ellis. He played very well to survive that long, and I commend him for it, really. That was quite well played. Down to now 3 survivors as they move up the spiraling staircase, with the advantage of recently killing the attack, so they can make it before the special infected are positioned. Smoker, Jockey, and a Hunter, followed by a Boomer. Hunter is moving in as well as Jockey. Jockey will be dead stop, but that allows the Hunter to land. Smoker lands as well, but the Jockey's a bit too far away from the action. Ends up landing onto Coach and separating him all the way down. He's in caps. Hunter is still going as well. He's ripping Nick to shreds here. Jockey is going to be looking to seal the deal with Rochelle. Well, everybody is actually, which they will indeed do so. So they are limited to 443 points as they are wiped before the crescendo. Meanwhile, the Hortons looking very promising here, 1,760 points. It still could potentially change, but it does rely on some very, very good gameplay out of Hap. They are going to need to really just wipe the survivors. and then make it to the safe room with a health bonus. That is essentially their best approach in this situation. But all in all, the advantage very much is in the hands of Hortons.
All right, people. Everybody got a can?
Let's get back to the damn boat.
We should probably limit the slots again, actually, just to make extra sure. But as we are now into chapter number 3, that's when that's when the mood changes. You know, it's kind of daylight and all sorts on chapter 1 and 2, but when you get onto 3 onwards, it's all rainy, it's gloomy, it's dark, and you're going backwards, of course, you're reversing the maps. Spit is going to be separating herself from that setup there. We'll be getting rid of that life. Jockey, Hunter, and a Charger in the hands of the Special Infected. Survivors just now making it into the cane field, one of the most precarious choke points in Left 4 Dead 2. And it is completed with a smoker as well, so they have a quad cap here for this cane field. Let's see if they can make it happen. They have the advantage of high ground as well, so let's see. Charger especially is a very good charger, a very good spawn to have here. It's a very good charger spot. Smoker moves in first and foremost. Tongue is cut though. Charger can't make the connection. He lands on people's heads, and that's going to be the shutdown of the Charger. After one scratch, Jockey will land as well, but they know exactly where he is, and well, that is all she wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, survivors will be making it into the safe room. The safe room? It's safe temporarily anyway. The elevator. Excuse me. Haven't done this for a while, so I'm a little bit rusty. Boomer and a Spitter, followed by Charger and Hunter. That's what they're going to have for this choke point. They're going to be dead-stopping... Yeah, they're going to dead-stop that Boomer out of the way and not actually get boomed other than one person. Which, to be honest, normally all 4 people are boomed here, so... one person is a relief. Charger, Hunter, and Spitter will all be waiting for their chance to shine here. If the Hunter does land on somebody in an interesting location, the Charger can just wait for him to get up, and then possibly charge him off the cliff there. Smoker's going to look to try to set up a death charge, but can't quite do so. 2 damage pumps from the Hunter. They had good thinking there, but again, the execution was shut down by a very, very, well, switched on Survivor side. Reacting to everything very well, and not to mention using the Uzi focus fire very much to their advantages. Spitter, Boomer, and a Smoker and a Jockey will be what they have for this upcoming choke point here. Boomer's looking like he wants to move in first there with a curve vomit. Chooses against it though. He's going to be repositioning. Smoker from behind as well as the Boomer. However, you can't bomb it through those stairs, unfortunately for him. That's going to be the shutdown of everything, including the Spitter, who can't really make a lot happen off of that, so that's all she wrote for that attack.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Survivors on a very smooth climb here, really. It's not very steep for them right now, but let's just see if that changes with this tank fight. Going to be in the hands of Matt, who will be relocating closer to the survivors. Charger, Hunter, and a Boomer. Boomer first gets dead stopped and shut down, unfortunately for him. Charger second. Hunter third, who ends up landing, but for 0.17 seconds. Rock is travelling in, but connects with the tree, unfortunately for the tank. So, all in all, survivors in very good health, and the tank needs to do something about that. It is a mechanic I've never understood, you know, that you can't vomit through stairs like that. I never understood that, because it is literally a gap. Like, you can vomit through thinner things in this game, so it's confusing. It's a very confusing mechanic, but just something you have to remember, as that Boomer unfortunately did not. Speaking of Boomers, actually, he comes out of the shed there, but he just meets his demise. He can't get a boom there. Pass number 2 as well, 45%. 25%, he's not really going to be able to do this much longer. In he moves 5% AI, which he was in their faces, so I don't know why he was AI there. confusing, but there we have it. Jockey's going to be landing. Smoker's going to be looking to do the same thing. Tank is chasing down Nick, so it could even be an in-cap. That is actually a decent Smoker as well. They're keeping everybody off the Tank. However, Tank's doing AI things, and he's throwing a rock, which is easy to dodge. He will be pinning Nick here. They will be able to clear him possibly before the in-cap. No, they don't actually, so the AI Tank gets an in-cap. But I have to say, I mean, he probably shouldn't have lost sight there, because he was right in their faces. But I mean, the explanation, of course, as has already been said in the chat, the rain and the fog disrupts your vision. So even if you can see the outlines, it doesn't mean you can see the survivors. That's going to be a Hunt Spit combination, combining with one another. That's going to be a little bit of damage. But yeah, it's unfortunate, really, because of the rain and the fog and the environment. It makes maintaining line of sight a lot more difficult. So you do have to be careful of that. Smoker, Charger, Jockey, and maybe a quad cap. A Hunter. Indeed a quad cap. Let's see how it plays out here. All survivors on this little upward structure here. Sort of a catwalk. They know where the Hunter is and they're chasing him. Smoker onto Coach will trouble them by no means. Charger moves in, connects with the railing. Will be getting a scratch followed by his death. Hunter below as well is not really making much happen, so the survivors don't have much difficulty whatsoever traversing further forward. That will be a successful Hunter, but really that is probably going to be all she wrote, other than a staggered attack here, and, well, they already have a Boomer and a Spitter, and they're just outside the safe room, so neither of them will really do anything, and they will enter the safe room with, well, 178 points per successful survivor, which puts them at 2,972. So I suppose it's a mixture of perhaps lack of map knowledge, because if we remember before, the Boomer tried to vomit through the little stairs, like the gaps in the stairs, which I understand, you should be able to do that. But he wasn't aware that you couldn't, or he just forgot. But then they might have also forgotten about the view distortion, you know, how difficult it is to maintain vision with a tank. Many factors, of course, and this is all just us talking from a spectator's perspective. We don't know what they were thinking in the moment. We have no clue. We can only observe as observers, and that's that. And while I was rambling my head off there, that the Spitter did sacrifice the life in place of which is obviously going to be either a Boomer or it will complete a quad cap, which is it is indeed going to complete a quad cap. It's a 25 damage pounce coming out of Busty in the skies there. He's going to be looking for that pretty soon. Smoker moving in as well, looking 25 damage pounds by Busty. That's incredible. Charger is not successful, but the interceptions are good enough to allow some damage to happen here, especially onto Nick there. Well, there we have it. Wait, was that Busty? It was Busty, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Busty. Oh, these guys are confusing me. No, it wasn't Dusty that landed the 25. Sorry, Busty. It was you, not the different lettered one. That's very confusing. Okay. So we have a Boomer and a Spitter, followed by Hunter and Smoker. Just need Rusty and Krusty. Yeah, that'll make my life hell. Survivors at 25% of the map. Boomer is looking to get that boom there. He will get it onto one, possibly more. Actually 3 successfully. That's very well played. Spitter, Smoker, and a Hunter there. I mean, the survivors are not aware, but the Special Infected currently don't have a Charger, so, you know, if they knew that, they could run out right now, but of course they don't, so they're going to have to wait and just give them the benefit of the doubts. However, they do now have a Charger to contend with, so that's basically moot by this point. They won't be choosing to attack at the elevator, it seems. They will be looking to attack instead at the next choke point. Hunter is pre-spawned below the survivors. Charger, Smoker, Hunter, and a Spitter is the setup. They're more than likely going to attack as the survivors drop down here, which they do indeed choose to do. Charger is moving in to make a connection. He can't do it, actually. He can, sorry, that looked like a stumble for some reason, but that's possibly even going to be an in-cap with the help of the Spitter. isn't quite an in-cap. He will have to take his pain pills here, but that's a very, very good charger, which for some reason on my screen it looked like a stumble. But a very, very nice charger by, I believe, Blue, if I'm not mistaken. Survivors replenishing their ammunition here, and continuing their way in this mostly outdoor map. Charger, Hunter, and a jockey. Very nice boomer from behind those coils there, getting a boom onto 2 survivors. Survivors being left with no choice but to go on the defensive and move backward. They don't want to run through that choke point with a horde on them. So this Hunter, Charger, and a jockey is missing either a spitter or a smoker. Smoker, of course, would make it a quad cap. It is a spitter though, so it is not a quad cap for the Hortons. A very good tri-cap for a spitter though. Let's just see how they play this. It's going to be indoors, going to be in this ammunition room. In moves the charger. That's going to be a 25 damage pounce. My goodness, and this time by Dusty, by the way, not Busty, but Dusty has now done a 25 damage pounce, so both of them have done the exact same thing. That's incredible. That is a meme right there. Busty and Dusty whipping out the 25s. That's brilliant. Very well played to have gotten it there as well, of all places. That is not the easiest place at all to land a 25, so we have to, like, I'm giving him a metaphorical round of applause for that. That's a very good 25 damage pounce. Charger, jockey, and a smoker. Charger from behind moving in. Ellis is a bit separated. No success from the charger. Boomer from above. Onto 1 total survivor. Jockey is going to land as well onto Coach for a brief period, and Boomer will be looking for a respawn. So not only did he get a boom, but also he can respawn and possibly get another. Still quite amazing that Busty and Dusty have both gotten the 25s. Quite like that. And speaking of those two, it's going to be a Busty tank here. Charger and a Hunter with the Boomer. Boomer is positioned on top of the shed. He does choose against it in the end, though. Charger can't... Oh, actually, unfortunately, not Chargers, excuse me. Hunter wasn't quite able to land the signature damage pounces. Then again, that was Lecky. It wasn't Dusty or Busty, so that's probably why. I think only Dusty and Busty have the honor of the 25 damage pounce. I don't think anybody else is worthy. Then again, we do have a Charger and a Boomer, and that's going to be completed with a Smoker. Charger gets a very nice charge at the ramp there. That's going to be quite brutal for them. And they don't have any pain pills, so whoever's slow is staying slow. That's going to be several punches onto Ellis. He's going to be swapping the focus here. Smoker's going to be assisting him, and the help from the Smoker allowed the rock to land. Tank on 1,130 HP has just about managed to retreat with his life, and he now has a little bit of time to play long here. Continuing to throw those rocks, which shouldn't be too problematic, however, with a Hunter and a Jockey on their tail, it will pick. Jockey is unsuccessful until he is. Well, he was. And also, I was lagging for a bit there. Tank is continuing the rocks. Hasn't landed any just yet. But, I mean, there's no real way the survivors can replenish their ammo without going either back or forward. They're kind of stuck here, so if they run out of ammo... 14 damage pounce will secure the in-cap onto Ellis as well. Jump rock down will actually just barely be dealt with there. Very well played by Team Hap. Charger gets a double charge, and the rock is unfortunately not able to in-cap. Well, actually, it wouldn't be an in-cap. Would it be a kill? No, it wouldn't. Smoker's going to move on to Rochelle. However, you know, I mean, Matt, if he's revived, he's black and white. Tank does eventually go AI and will be falling to the survivors here. One remaining survivor, all others are incapacitated, and, you know, one of which, that being Matt, aka Coach, is black and white, and they have no pain pills to help him through, so they really are going to need to be careful here, as careful as can be. Boomer from round the corner, that's a good start, you know, that's definitely a good start, wiping out the Boomer. Charger, Spitter, and a Hunter is what remains of the attack. Charger from around the corner, landing onto Nick there, followed by the Spit, and the Hunter landing in the Spit as well. That's another one, that's another Hunt Charge Spit combination. And, well, guess what? Both of them are black and white on revival, so they have 3 people who are black and white right now. All 3 of them. Nick, Coach, and Ellis. They really have to hope for some pain pills. They have found one set at the very least, so one of them is in less danger. Jockey and Charger moving in with the Smoker. Charger lands the charge. He disconnects the Smoker, but still gets a stumble regardless. That's going to be a boom, followed by a double kill from the Charger. That's literally a double kill. So, well, I mean, let's just play the whatever it would be, the double kill thing. It's going to be the Smoker finishing everything off, and, well, Charger double kill equals what? 824 points here. Unfortunately, though, even with a finale, it would be a very large task to come back from this deficit. I'm afraid to say. It's not to say that Matt did not play well. It's more to say that Hortons are just playing out of their minds right now. This is probably the best I've seen them play, especially with Blue's tank on map number 1. It was very, very well played there. That essentially is what set the ball rolling, that's what created the snowball, which continued rolling down, so well played to him. Speaking of car-based tank fights, we are on chapter number 4 as well, and we all know this one. We all know how this can go with cars. You either hit them or you don't. You either get hit by them or you don't. That is pretty much this chapter summarized. We are seeing a Charger here, actually, from the ghosts there. So the first attack will be accompanied with a Charger, as well as a Jockey and a Hunter. Let's just see how they can pull this off, though. They have the high ground advantage, directly above the safe room, specifically. And really a multitude of angles to attack from as well, so this choke point really is one of the better ones for Special Infected. Everybody ready to go here. They will be opening the door and setting on their journey. Going to be clearing Common Infected before they make any rash decisions. They don't want to run into Common Infected. That would not be wise. Hunter and Jockey both spawned up above them. They want to synchronize with that spitter there. Jockey moves in first, Hunter second, but, well, Jockey didn't last very long. That's going to be a Charger landing onto Nick, followed by the spit, and Hunter landing outside as well. So, I mean, they have the capability to pull off some good attacks, but I think by now it's just becoming a bit too late, because the lead is climbing, and the Hortons have actually surpassed 3,000 points as well. So it's a very upward climb for them, and it's a very unfortunately downward climb for Happer. But let's just see what they can manage with this infamous tank fight. Boomer lands onto one survivor at the truck there. Charger moving in with the Smoker. Smoker is successful, however Charger is not. Jockey last but not least onto Ellis for a brief period. However, their clears are really on point here. We'll be spawning precisely now. I was about to say when it would spawn, but it has spawned now. Has a bit of a distance to cover here. There's going to be a smoke onto Rochelle. That's very unexpected, actually, and separates her for a little bit. Tank, unfortunately, though, has a very long way to go before he gets to the survivors, and by the time he does get to them, he is going to have to go straight in, pretty much. Boomer from behind the alarm car. If they get far away enough and pop him, he won't trigger the alarm car anyway, so that'll be a complete win. He does choose to just simply get rid of his life there. Tank in the hands of good. Moving towards the survivors on pass number 1. 55% of his pass number 1. Smoker on 76 HP will be getting rid of that spawn. Doesn't really favour that too much. But as we can see here, the tank can technically see the survivors, but he's not actually gaining any rage from it. That's a precarious car falling onto Dusty there from the rooftop. Could even be his death here, if we're honest. He's going to continue to throw rocks against it because rocks will not make it fly into high heavens. My goodness, that's incredible. That is really unpredictable, but incredible. And that's what I mean by these cars. Decent car hit, couldn't quite hit Nick there. And Ellis is being chased down by a Hunter. He is pinned by the Hunter as well. That's going to lead the tank to target him with the Jockey. They're going to be a little tag team here. However, that's going to be separation onto Ellis. Jockey is going to be meeting his demise as well. Tank is behind one car, 4,000 HP is a decent number. He's looking for Nick here, but the car is very far away from him. Tang's looking to chase him into the car here with the body blocks. He can't quite get it though, unfortunately. Boomer will cause some distraction. He misses the hit on the car, and he's looking to get Nick here, but unfortunately he hits it too far away to make anything happen. Charger, however, nicely lands onto Ellis there. That will secure the in-cap onto Nick at least. However, that's all she wrote with the unfortunate death of Dusty there, so we only have Busty remaining in terms of that duo. Smoker from behind looking for the pull onto Nick, which he does indeed get, followed by a little bit of spit synchronization, and you know, they are reduced to 3 players. They would have hoped for a wipe there. That would have been quite ideal, but well, that could have really been their only hope of coming back from this. So they really need to wipe these survivors and then make it to the safe room with a giant health bonus, if they, of course, want any chance at the finale playing in their favor for a comeback, but we'll just have to see how they play. Smoker, Jockey, Hunter, and a Boomer. Boomer from below. No success. Until eventually he does get success onto Ellis there. Still landing on him, and they haven't cleared him just yet. Hunter is looking for the interception. He does get onto Coach's back there. That is going to be some decent damage. However, survivors will have no more difficulty traversing here. 3 seconds on the clock for the shortest spawn timer, and as we speak, 9 seconds for the longest. Charger and a Spitter so far in the hands of the Special Infected, followed by a Boomer, and followed by a Smoker. So it is not a tri-cap, which of course is very ideal. Boomer from below is popped. Spitter is not able to make much happen. They try to pull into the Spit, but they aren't able to do so. Charger has chosen against attacking with that attack. And the 3 lonesome survivors will continue without their companion. Still with somewhat of a health bonus as well, really. This next choke point here, with very much a high ground advantage, is going to actually have in it a quad cap, so even overkill. Let's just see if overkill is enough to wipe out the Hortons here. Smoker tongue is cut by the axe. Jockey is moving in with the Smoker. They're cutting the tongues and all sorts, though. I mean, Jockey is shut down. Tongue gets cut, followed by the Hunter Skeet. That's going to be a successful charger against the Fire Hydrant. It's going to be a revival eventually. And it is, of course, looking like the survivors will successfully make it into the safe room. Boomer's going to try to get a boom there at the safe room. Unable to do so, those survivors make it into the safe room. And quite comfortably, really, considering they only had 3 people. 3,417 points in the hands of Hortons. We are now just going to have to see how Team Hap plays this, because, you know, a huge 100 HP per player health bonus might not even be enough at this rate, really. But of course they will be playing for honor, and let's just see how well they do end up playing this map, because anything can really happen on this particular map. As always, hopefully everybody is having a wonderful evening, morning, night, or afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. Hopefully everybody's having a good day, long story short. Hunter, Jockey, and a Charger, accompanied with a Spitter, is going to be the tri-cap leading out of the safe room here. Ellis jumps out first, no attack just yet. In it moves, dead stops the Jockey, however, 16 damage pounce is, well, gonna be landing. Charger is unable to time it properly, and the Jockey will also be landing for a brief period. However, 16 damage pounce, I mean, it's not really good enough if you ask me. I think Busty and Dusty have set the standards for the Hortons to be 25 or nothing, really. Smoker, Charger, Boomer, and a Hunter is going to be the tri-cap. Hunter's going to be pouncing in with the Charger. That's going to be a successful hunt. However, well, the get-up animation is too long for the Charger. He'll be focus fired before anything can happen from that. Smoker is also shut down, and all that remains is a Boomer. He is positioned behind the fence, though. Let's see if he can land a boom here. Could even land it as they're running back, which might not really work too well, to be honest, because the tank still has miles to go before he gets to them. He's popped so quickly, though, behind that truck. They reacted like, just immediately. Very well played by Team Hat there. But as, of course, we can see, the tank has a while to travel before he gets to them. Tank being in the final hands of Lecky for not only the whole game, providing, of course, we don't go to map 5. That's going to be a Charger moving in there, and eventually completely separating Rochelle there. But yes, the last tank for not only the whole game, providing, of course, there is no finale, but also for Team Hortons. And of course, you want to leave a good impression as well. Because if you're the last tank, a lot of pressure is really on you. First car not so successful, but let's just see what the next ones can do. That car is directly on the roof there, in a good position as well. A lot can be worked with that car. Second car is also on the roof, actually. Very good placements of these cars here. Going to be looking to use this car here, which is travelling for Rochelle, but couldn't quite land. That's going to be a pull onto Nick, followed by punches. That's going to be 2 punches onto 2 different targets. Jockey moving for Coach, but might not be the wisest choice. They're going to be looking for the tri-cap instead. 2-shot skeet, though, coming out of Ellis. That's going to be the smoker cleared, but only before getting jockeyed. Car is moving in, and he can't quite land with the help of the jockey. Tank still on decent enough HP to continue making stuff happen, and the jockey moves him underneath the car as it's falling downward. Very well played, very good execution there. Good old jockey. 2 people incapacitated, 1 on low ground, 1 on high ground. Boomer behind the car as well, because cars give you a chance to spawn, a place to spawn, so he's going to be looking for that car here, and well, he could even get the death onto Ellis if he does it carefully enough, but he's going to be looking to move it for Rochelle, barely missing her, but she's in a very dangerous position here, as is Nick, really. They're all so separated. Tank will be falling to his high ground. 7 damage pounds on the high ground is going to be just eventually cleared. Ellis is very close to dying here, could even die from the common infected. He has to be revived quickly, but he cannot be revived quick enough. Charger looks for Nick there and isn't able to make anything happen. He will be getting a scratch, followed by 2 on to Coach. However, that's all she wrote. They have lost a survivor here. And, well, there you have it. That car flying directly into space and falling down where the jockey put the person where he should be, literally just relocated him underneath the car as it was falling. That is definitely some teamwork right there. That's some teamwork makes the dream work type stuff. Boomer will be popped, however. And I mean, these guys have 3 survivors as well, so let's just see how they end up playing with the disadvantage of lacking a player.
Reloading.
Ammunition replenishment is imminent. They will have by now replenished all of it. Hunter, Jockey, Smoker, and a Spitter. It is a tri-cap, so let's just see if it can end up landing here.
Reloading.
A tri-cap is all they need to completely end this. Smoker first, Jockey second. However, Jockey steals the Smoker target. Hunter is going to be combining with the Spitter, and an instant smoke on the high ground as well onto Coach is doing a lot of damage. So overall, pretty decent attack, all things considered. They really do want the tri-cap, which of course you would, because that would end the game. But at the very least, they got some damage, and they're keeping the pressure up, and that is really what they can hope for here. Boomer, Charger, Jockey, and in 1 second it will be completed with a Hunter, so it's a tri-cap without the Spitter. Boomer from above. In a good position here. There's going to be a Jockey landing with the Charger, however, both in different locations. The Hunter's waiting for an interception here. Boomer's getting himself in the way. Hunter lands onto Coach, who Rochelle has dropped away from, so that's going to be an in-cap onto 2 survivors, and, well, one of which is pretty much going to die here. So all Rochelle can do is run for her life. She really does just simply need to make it into the safe room, but there is no finale being played, so it is essentially from this moment a GG's, ladies and gentlemen, ending in the playground of chapter number 4 of the Hard Rain installment here. Team Hat versus Team Hortons, and Hortons, or Tims as they've categorized themselves as, they are the victors. 3,000 417 points versus 1,117 points in the hands of Team Hap. And that is going to be it from us, ladies and gentlemen. We have nothing scheduled after this, so and it is GG's and goodbye from us.